This is Beth Raps with Raising Clarity and
Mike Wang with I'm a heart-centered coach that focuses around working with people around productivity and fulfillment.
cool. And another thing that I really liked about Mike is your equation. Can you say it?
Sure.
Okay, great.
It's mindful visioning plus energy management equals fulfillment. So I'm a big believer we have to have clarity around what we want to create in the world, but we also have to learn to manage our energy in order to actually actualize it.
You and I have in common an interest
Mm-hmm.
but the dance between structure and abundance or flow. An insight I had some years ago, and I have a blog post about that I had to accept the good with the bad if I wanted to increase my flow. People have said to me, well, how can you structure abundance? Structure is like a negative for some people. Discipline, structure, scheduling, and I teach all kinds of stuff like that, like money mapping, budgeting, time mapping. And I'm like, it's essential.
So my work doesn't necessarily focus around money, but I'm a big believer in balance of structure and freedom, I guess some people would call it. And so I believe whatever we direct our time and energy and focus to is what we actually create and grow. And so a lot of it to me is about learning to balance those two sides. So, even in my personal life, I've been part of, I used to work in corporate America. I would do the whole hustle thing, but I was deeply unfulfilled in that world. And so then the visioning piece, the visioning is great. I think we want to cultivate a sense of permission and freedom to imagine just imagine what we want in this short life that we have. There's a deep connection there, I would imagine, with money in your framework.
Yeah, but it's why I started gravitating to things besides money, because it's definitely not all about money. There's a reason I think you and I started talking about money, and I think we can go into that in a bit. This is a pretty interesting topic. This dance that we're talking about is the wider dance of manifestation, what I would call manifestation, or I'm not saying that the only word you would call it is fulfillment, but where we have a vision and we can translate that. There's some process, there's some black box through which it comes out, like you said, in the external reality. And here I want to mention that you're a martial artist. For me, that always really represents the stage of visioning and moving it outward into what I call manifestation. And it seems impossible to me to do that without starting to open up that black box. And in that black box, I think immediately we find structure. Like I have people who come to me and they're distracted. They get distracted easily. They dream easily. But when it comes to regularly disciplining the self to return to the focus and focusing, that's another big one for me.
Focus is a big part of my work too.
Yeah, it's huge.
A big thing that I've been recently talking a lot about is commitment. Commitment to self, commitment to others. It's just another way to talk about energy management. And a lot of people are scared to commit to things, but in reality, them not committing to things is a kind of unconscious commitment.
Wow. Yep.
Intuitively, they feel drawn to these practices, right? My students feel, even though we live in a culture now where discipline is sometimes thought of as a negative word, because a lot of people have lived in a society where discipline equated to working hard towards something they didn't actually want. A part of them is drawn to practices that require discipline. So they know something is missing. They just haven't been able to pinpoint exactly what it is. That's why the visioning to me is so important. It's like, no, discipline is good as long as you're clear, this is what you want.